It's not what happens to you that causes pain, but how you choose to respond to it. Stoic wisdom reminds us. Have you ever felt your mind racing, speaking more than you intend, or focusing on everything except what truly matters in a world filled with noise, where quick opinions are mistaken for strength and hasty reactions are seen as wisdom? Many men lose their way. They feel exhausted, scattered, and disconnected from their inner strength. Yet, the Stoics discovered a timeless solution. True strength lies not in doing more, but in doing better. It's not about shouting louder, but knowing when to stay silent. It's not about endless thinking, but directing your thoughts with purpose. In this video, you'll learn how Stoic philosophy for men can help you regain focus, strengthen your mind, and act with intention. You'll discover how to control what's within your reach, master your inner voice, and build a presence that speaks louder than words. Even in silence, if you sometimes feel overwhelmed by distractions, you're not alone. Today can mark the beginning of your journey back to clarity. Join me, because when you think less, speak less, and focus more, the world no longer controls you. You control it. Please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay with us on this quiet yet powerful path of transformation. Remember, a thought is not the truth. A single thought can ruin your entire day. A quiet doubt creeps into your mind like a shadow. I'm not good enough. Things will never change. What if everything goes wrong before you know it? You live as if these thoughts are carved in stone, but they aren't. The Stoics understood this clearly. Epictetus taught that events don't disturb us. Our judgments about them do. Have you ever mistaken a fleeting thought for reality? How often have you let an untested idea hold you captive? Picture yourself at a train station. Each thought is a train passing by. Some carry regret, others anger, others fear. You don't have to board every train. You can stand still, breathe deeply, and remain grounded. This simple act of observing without reacting is a powerful Stoic practice to calm inner chaos. When you're trapped in overthinking, you lose control. But by stepping back to observe, thoughts lose their grip on you. They fade away naturally. I recall a late-night conversation with a colleague, a respected leader admired for his calm demeanor. He admitted that every morning he woke with a knot of frustration in his chest, not from external events, but from the whispers of his own mind upon waking. You're not good enough. You're ruining everything. For years, he lived as if those thoughts were a verdict. Then, he discovered Marcus Aurelius and realized something profound. He could create distance. He could say, I'm having the thought that I'm failing. This small shift in perspective changed everything. He was no longer a failure, just a man with a passing thought. Like clouds in the sky or fading smoke, thoughts dissolve if you don't fuel them. This isn't about denying thoughts or forcing positivity, which can be an escape from reality. It's about recognizing that your mind generates thoughts automatically. Not every thought is helpful. Many are just old memories, inherited fears, or unfiltered reactions. You are not your thoughts. You are the space where they arise. The one who decides which to nurture and which to release. Stoic practice begins with this awareness. You don't need to retreat to a remote place or meditate for hours. Just take a few minutes each day to pause and observe. When a thought causes pain, don't react. Don't push it away or cling to it. Simply watch it. Ask yourself, Is this true? Do I have evidence? Does it strengthen or weaken me if it doesn't serve you? Let it go, not with anger, but with calm, like dropping a stone you no longer need to carry. Gradually, you create inner space. In that space, something unshakable emerges: clarity, stillness, and lasting strength. This isn't magic, it's discipline. It's returning to the present, standing firm, and choosing to be with yourself. The Stoics didn't aim to stop thinking, but to guide it. They knew an untrained mind is like a wild horse. It drags you to places you don't want to go. But a disciplined mind becomes your ally, lighting your path. Most importantly, it grants you freedom to move forward. The next time your inner voice says you can't, you're not enough, or it's too late, breathe deeply. Don't board that train. Stay grounded, because thoughts don't define you. How you handle them is your true strength, a quiet, inner power that cannot be shaken. The second principle, the strength of speaking less. As Marcus Aurelius said, a strong soul needs no justification. Some silences unsettle others, but others command respect. In a world where fast talk is mistaken for intelligence and noise drowns truth, choosing to speak less is an act of defiance, not against others, but against your own ego, the part that craves the last word or demands to be heard. You're not here to prove anything. You're here to master yourself. I knew a man at work everyone avoided, not because he was unpleasant, but because he was different. He spoke only when necessary, listened intently, and observed carefully. When he did speak, his words carried weight, as if carved in stone, not because he was loud, but because he wasted no syllable. He didn't argue or over-explain. He spoke only when it mattered, making him unforgettable. The Stoics saw this as a virtue. A wise person speaks with intention, not habit. They avoid pointless arguments, knowing some battles are won by not engaging. Marcus Aurelius wrote that a strong soul stays calm amid the world's noise. The challenge is to stand firm when everything around you provokes a reaction. Speaking less isn't about fear, it's about choosing when to speak and when to stay silent. It's knowing not every jab needs a counter, not every slight needs a reply, and not every moment needs your explanation. When you react to everything, you give your energy away, scattering and unsettling yourself. But when you choose purposeful silence, you sharpen your mind. You become someone who acts with intention, not emotion. Stoics don't seek to please others, they live by virtue. Part of that virtue is speaking only what's necessary, like a warrior measuring each strike, because a careless word can cut deeper than you realize. A well-timed pause can diffuse tension. Recall the last time you spoke impulsively, perhaps a sharp remark, a defensive retort, or an unnecessary opinion. Was it worth it? Or did it leave you feeling empty? Patching up regrets silence, however, rarely leads to regret. Silence gives you time. It restores clarity. It returns control. Speaking less makes you more present, forcing you to listen. Truly listen, not to argue or win, but to understand. Something remarkable happens. Others lower their defenses. They sense you're not fighting but engaging, and you transform in the process. By staying silent, you think more clearly. Your words become choices, not reactions. Epictetus taught that we should master the impulse to speak. There's no greater freedom than not needing to explain yourself. That freedom lies in your breath. your gaze, and the calm you carry when you choose silence, even when you could win with a sharp argument. Speaking less isn't a style, it's a philosophy. It reminds you that control begins with your words. True respect isn't demanded, it's earned. In a noisy world, a man who masters silence becomes a presence that needs no introduction. When you feel the urge to retort, pause, breathe, and ask, is this necessary? Is it helpful? Does it align with who I want to be? If not, hold your words. Sometimes, the greatest strength is saying nothing at all. In that silence, you grow stronger, wiser, and truer to yourself. The third principle, control what you can. At times, the world feels. From that day, he not only rebuilt his business, but also found inner peace. Because clarity brings strength and focus, makes you untouchable. Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, knew not everything was in his control. He wrote to remind himself that happiness comes not from outside, but from the quality of your thoughts. An emperor could command armies, but not fate. His true power lay in how he responded. No complaints, no surrender. Keeping his mind steady while the world spun in chaos. Controlling what you can doesn't mean making everything perfect. It's about taking the helm, no matter the storm. When everything shakes, you choose what to hold firm. Inside calm, purpose, deliberate action. Live from your core, not fleeting reactions. If you feel lost, pause, breathe. Look closely at what you can control and let go of what you can't. Then pour your energy into what you can change. No matter how small, each action, grounded in clarity, becomes stronger and truly yours. That's what keeps a man standing when the world falls apart. Not luck or circumstance, but relentless resolve to focus on what matters. That's where true transformation begins. Not out there, not tomorrow, but now, in the thoughts you choose, the responses you craft, the person you decide to be when no one else defines you. The fourth principle, focus on what builds you. You may have been there replaying a conversation long after it's over. A mistake from months ago keeps you awake. Someone hurt you, and though they're gone, the wound lingers, not because of what happened, but because you keep nurturing it. Your mind is fertile soil. It grows what you plant. If you sow pain, guilt, or resentment, don't expect peace to bloom. The problem isn't remembering, it's getting stuck there, replaying that moment like a broken record. Sometimes, you turn your mind into a prison, yet you hold the key. You're not sentenced to stay there forever. Because thoughts aren't a life sentence, they're a choice. This isn't about denying the past or pretending everything's fine. It's about redirecting your focus to what strengthens you. A man who keeps looking back won't move forward, no matter how fast he runs. It doesn't matter how hard you try if your mind dwells on what can't be changed. But when you choose to focus on where there's light, something opens within you, not loudly, not instantly, but it opens. That's when real growth begins. Marcus Aurelius. Amidst war, betrayal, and illness, wrote in quiet nights that the soul grows stronger by focusing on what life demands today, not yesterday, not tomorrow, but today. The present, flawed as it is the only place you can act. Your attention bridges who you are and who you can become. Each time you catch your mind wandering and bring it back. You strengthen an invisible muscle called discipline. Consider a single day in your life. Thousands of thoughts pass through, some fleeting, some heavy, but only a few, shape your actions or drain your energy. The secret isn't stopping thoughts from arising, but refusing to feed the unhelpful ones. To do this, return to the present, your breath, your body, what truly matters. Someone once shared in a comment on a Stoic video, "I watched every time I start moving forward. My mind drags me back to old memories, to someone who hurt me, and I lose hours reliving it like it's still happening." I understand most of us have been there. The key isn't to flee those thoughts, but to face them, acknowledge them, then choose not to give them space today, even for an hour. Redirect your energy to what moves you forward. The Stoics didn't advocate burying emotions. They taught transformation. Use those feelings as an anchor, a signal of what to release, and turn them into purposeful action. Every time you focus on what adds value, reading, exercising, building you, tell yourself and the world, you won't waste another day on what can't be changed. You can't control every thought, but you decide which ones stay. That choice, day after day, shapes who you are, your path, and your strength. A strength that doesn't need to shout, but shows in how you carry yourself, how you choose, how you quietly keep moving forward while others stay trapped in their storms. Focus isn't a gift, it's a skill. Sharpen it through practice. When your mind pulls you to pain or chaos, don't fight it. Breathe, acknowledge, and return to the present. The fifth principle, accept what is. Marcus Aurelius said, "Your pain comes not from things outside you, but from how you view them, and you can change that view." Most men don't fall under burdens. They fall resisting them. They wish life were different. People wouldn't disappoint, or the past wouldn't hurt. They want everything to go as planned. But reality doesn't comply. The more you fight what is, the more exhausted and wounded you become. It's not the burden that crushes you, it's how you carry it. Acceptance isn't surrender or passive endurance. It's stopping the battle against what's already happened. It's looking directly at failure, mistakes, or betrayal, and deciding they don't define you. You don't build yourself on what went wrong. Clinging to how things should be traps you in illusion. Acceptance lets you breathe, and from that calm, you can choose a new path. A man once wrote to me, sharing how he spent years chasing his father's approval, striving to be the perfect son, professional, and man. It was never enough. When his father passed, the pain was crushing. But heavier still was the unlifted burden of those years of effort for recognition. Reading Epictetus, he realized freedom begins when you stop seeking permission to be yourself. Living for others' approval is living in chains. Even if they're invisible, that day, he began speaking to himself with respect, not because his father gave it, but because he chose not to need it anymore. The Stoics teach that you cannot control how others see you, but you can control how you see yourself. Everyone filters reality through their own wounds, beliefs, and fears. If someone rejects you, it doesn't mean you lack value. It means they cannot see it. But you must see it. You must, because no one else will do it for you. Acceptance also means letting go of guilt, the inner voice that repeats what you should have done, could have avoided, or lost. It cannot rewrite the past. The past can only be understood, and used as raw material to build anew. When you accept something is over, you can begin again, not from nothing, but from experience. Strength isn't just enduring, it's learning. It's growing through each fall, not with anger, but with purpose, not in haste, but with direction. Each blow that doesn't break you reveals who you are, showing what you can hold on to and what you can release. Yes, loneliness may come. When you stop living for others' approval, some may drift away. You no longer fit their mold. You're not easy to handle. But that's part of freedom. Being alone to be truly yourself is better than being surrounded yet losing who you are. So, when things don't go your way, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What can I do now with what I have?" Don't wait for a perfect life to start living. Begin now, with what's in front of you, with who you are, with what you know today. Each time you do, you'll feel a shift within, not loud, not showy, but deep and rooted. The sixth principle: embrace silence to find clarity. There's a noise you can't hear, but it drains you, a mind overwhelmed, chasing everything, trying to fix, solve, respond. We're surrounded by demands, opinions, comparisons, and expectations. From waking to exhaustion, there's constant pressure to do more. Know more. Be more. In that storm, you don't just lose time, you lose direction. Without silence, everything blurs. When all things seem equal, nothing truly matters. But silence isn't emptiness, it's a refuge. The only place you can hear what you think, feel, and truly want. You may be walking a path not of your choosing, chasing goals that aren't yours, running toward things that don't fulfill you because you never pause to ask if they're truly yours. Silence forces you to face this, not through force, but through clarity. When the world quiets, what remains is you. A man who watched my videos daily shared that he once filled every moment with tasks, unable to bear even 10 minutes of stillness. He felt worthless without busyness. But one day, in a moment of panic, he forced himself to sit quietly. No music, no phone, no one. 5 minutes. Just 5. And in those minutes, he wept, not from sadness, but from truth. He saw how long he'd been running, how much noise he'd used to drown out what he needed to face. Now, he starts each morning in silence, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. In that silence, he finds answers no book or advice could give. The Stoics didn't shy from silence. They embraced it. Marcus Aurelius wrote alone at night, not to boast, but to listen to himself, to order his mind before making decisions that shaped an empire. He knew a noisy mind isn't free, it's trapped in what doesn't matter. Epictetus taught that the wise speak only when necessary, not out of habit. What's left unsaid often speaks louder than words. Silence reveals what's worth your time and what's merely distraction. It shows you who you are when the world's eyes aren't watching your habits, fears, and deepest desire. But it takes courage, for silence confronts you with hard truths. It exposes what you've avoided. Yet, that's where change begins, not in comfort, but in the uneasy space where you stop running. If you're lost, don't chase more noise. Seek more silence. Turn off the chaos. Be still, not because you lack words, but because you need to hear yourself first. You need to reconnect with what matters, That's not found in the next goal or answer. It's in the quiet moment when everything stops and you meet yourself again. The world will never hush for you. There's always more news, demands, voices. But you can choose not to listen to them all. You can create a space of stillness, a sacred pause where you return to yourself, not what others expect, not a shadow, but your true self. Only a man who knows silence can truly listen, and only one who listens to what matters lives with purpose. Silence isn't weakness, it's mastery, clarity, and true strength. The seventh principle: speak less. I think more. Most men don't stumble because of what they don't say. They stumble from words spoken without thought. A remark in anger, an opinion tossed out carelessly, a reaction without reflection. These spark harm, often within yourself. Each unconsidered word pulls you further from your core. In a world where everyone vies to be heard, the man who chooses silence stands out. Think of your mind as a blade. Every word is a swing. An unsharpened blade hurts you more than anyone else. But a honed blade, used wisely, makes you resilient. Speaking less doesn't diminish your worth. It shows clarity, control, and wisdom. Not every thought needs a voice. Not every emotion needs expression. Not every comment deserves your reply. A man came to me after a family argument, admitting he lost control over something small. Fueled by weeks of unspoken frustration, he'd ignored feelings and hurled judgments like daggers. When it was over, he felt hollow, knowing those words weren't his truth, just echoes of inner chaos he hadn't faced. So, he set a rule: pause before responding, even for 2 seconds. That brief pause changed how he lived, giving him space to choose and respond with calm. The Stoics deeply valued the power of pausing. Epictetus said, "We're not disturbed by events, but by how we interpret them." That interpretation often forms before you speak. Mastering the moment between stimulus and response doesn't just win arguments, it shapes your character, path, and energy. In tense moments, a pause can be your sharpest tool, not because you're out of words, but because you know not every battle deserves your energy. In an important conversation, a brief silence can make your words carry more weight than any volume. Words spoken without haste or need to win resonate deeply. Speaking with purpose is an art. Like any skill, it requires practice, awareness, and the courage to resist the noise around you. Today, we're urged to react, to post, to speak, to prove ourselves. But restraint isn't suppression, it's choosing where your words come from, your ego or your core, your wounds or your wisdom. This distinguishes the man who reacts impulsively from the one who stands firm. You can't always control your emotions, but you can control how you express them. You can learn to observe thoughts without letting them speak for you. You can practice pausing, breathing, and waiting for the right moment. A man who masters his words doesn't just communicate better, he respects himself more. And self-respect earns respect from others. The next time you want to reply sharply, pause, not out of weakness, but strength. Not from fear, but focus. Speaking less isn't holding back, it's letting go of what doesn't need to be said. In those moments, you find a quiet strength few achieve. You can be one of them. True strength isn't about lifting heavier weights or shouting louder. It's forged in silence, in choosing to think before reacting, in focusing on what you can control each day. Today, we've explored 3 pillars to reshape a man's life. Think less, speak less, focus more. These aren't distant ideals, but daily practices, built through conscious choices, deliberate breaths, and thoughts you observe without letting them rule you. When you realize thoughts don't define you, silence becomes strength, and focus shapes your path. Something shifts inside. You no longer need to prove your worth to the world, you carry it within. You remind yourself that peace, discipline, and clarity aren't for the lucky few. They're skills you build, refine, and protect. Start today. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Use what you have. Breathe, pause, choose. And if you falter, revisit this video. Let each word remind you. Your mind doesn't control you unless you allow it. Your voice doesn't lose value in silence. Focus is your greatest tool. If this resonates, share in the comments. Where do you need more silence? What are you choosing to release? Your story might light the way for another man to find himself again.